a Christian and you hate your job, you might not be alone. Many a Christian nowadays hate their job. And I'm guessing this is not something that is just happening in our time. This is something that might have been happening ever since human beings are on earth. Ever since human beings are this, ever since sin has come to earth. Because in the beginning, work was not something to fear. Work was not something to hate. Work was not just a job to do so that I can pay my bills, so that I can sustain my family, so that I can live, so that I can matter in society. Work was not something cultural. Work was something intertwined with human existence. Because work was created as a sign for human dominion over the kingdom of earth. Work was given to human beings, to man. When I say man here, it's not just a male, it's male and female. Work was created by God because the first thing that God gave man was to work, to till the soil, to plant, to take care of the plants, to grow crops. That's what work was for, to exalt human beings, not to debase them. So how is it that we hate our work today? We hate our work today, or our job, because today we don't talk about work anymore. Yes, some people talk about work, but we talk about job today because we need to have a job to do everything I said before, to pay my bills, which is almost everything. Because you pay bills for your light, you pay bills for your TV, you pay bills for your internet, you pay bills for your water, gas, sewer, trash, everything. You pay bills for your food. That's what work or job is for. That's what we work for. But work is not for that purpose only. Work, even though has been, destroyed or devoided of its meaning, work is still not for what we do it for. Work is to honor God and to elevate other human beings. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. When you study the life of Moses, Moses was a man who grew up in Egypt. And he was raised in the palace of Pharaoh. He was raised as the Pharaoh's grandson. And he had all the civil and military training that he needed to be a wise man, at least as wise as Egyptians understood wisdom. And he was trained in all trades of leadership and management. And he was, in the line of succession to become the Pharaoh of Egypt. The training that Moses had in Egypt was good for him. It was good in many instances. It was good for his life. It was good for his leadership later on in life. But he thought his purpose was to use his skills, his human skills and abilities to free his people, Israel, from the bondage of Egypt. That's why he went and started killing around. And he killed an Egyptian, hoping that the Jewish people would see in him a Messiah, and that they would, gang up with him and for him to free themselves from bondage. But that is not what the purpose of God was. Yes, God wanted to free his people from the bondage of Egyptians, from Egyptian bondage, but his means were different. And he had Moses to depart to learn the true meaning of work for 40 years in the wilderness as a shepherd. As a shepherd, Moses had work. He did not just have a job, because he was being trained. He learned to care for those who do not care for him. He learned to care for those who do not know how to care for themselves. He learned to, look for the lost. He learned to nurse the sick. He learned to be gentle with the feeble and weak. He learned, to support and bear long with those who are boastful, proud, and just antisocial. He learned all of that while he was taking care of the sheep. Because if you are a shepherd, you know what a sheep is. Even though sheep are very gentle, they are, innocent, and they are harmless, but they cannot care for themselves. They cannot care for you. They couldn't care less about what you want them to do. They will do what they want to do. It is in your prerogative to help them do what you think is best for them. This is what Moses had as work, and his work was training for him so that later on he can take up the leadership position that God had in store for him. Do you see where I'm going with this? So, if you hate your job, consider the life of Moses. Moses had everything to refuse to surrender to the harshness and ruggedness of the wilderness. But he chose that God's way of training to learn what it means to work. It is in that wilderness that Moses learned to find himself alone with God. That's where he learned to call on the name of the Lord in spirit and truth. That's where he learned to recognize the name of God. That's where, when God saw that Moses had learned the lesson of selflessness, self-denial, that he gave him the task of going back to Egypt to free the people from Egyptian bondage. So when you have a job that you do not like, you think that your boss does not like you, you think that your coworkers do not like you, you think that the clients do not like you, you think that you are being discriminated against, you think that your message is not going along, you think that your salary, your pay is not at the level of your competence and training, just remember Moses. This is, even though we may think this is not God's way, this is actually God's way of training us. It is a training session, and we need to take care of that moment. We need to pay attention, close attention, and take advantage of that training so that God can see that we have been trained and we have gotten the lesson. Maybe if His providence sees it fit to give us higher positions, to give us higher wages. This is not to say that you should not ask for higher wages. I'm just saying, do not do it in a spirit of contention. Make sure you do your work with might. As Ecclesiastes tells us, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. For there is no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where you are going. Now, if you do everything you are supposed to do, and you are still persecuted, let me tell you what Peter says. Beloved, do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you. But rejoice to the extent that you partake of Christ's sufferings, that when His glory is revealed, you may also be glad with exceeding joy. There is really nothing we can do against someone who's persecuting us. There is nothing we can do. We can fight them if we want, but we cannot change them. Only God can change them. When someone is persecuting you, whomever that is, you cannot change them, but God can. All you do is to bring them to God. If you fight them, if you take matters in your hand, you're going to destroy your chances of getting out of that situation with, glorifying God. So when we have persecutions, when we do not like our environment, Let's remember Paul. Paul prayed 3 times for his burden to be lifted up from him. And God told him, my grace is sufficient for you, because my strength is shown in your weaknesses. Maybe God has given you this situation. Maybe God has allowed this position that you have so that He can shine His glory through you. So everywhere you go to work, everywhere you go to discharge a duty, remember that you are heaven's representative. You are heaven's ambassador right there. And you are there to promote your country. You cannot go around as a diplomat and disgracing the image of your country. You cannot do that. If you do that, you will be removed of your position. So let's do our job. Let's discharge our duty with meekness and trembling, knowing that God's attention is upon us. If you need promotion, let's remember that promotion does not come from the east nor from the west. Promotion comes from above, from the Lord of Lords. If you need promotion, the first person you want to talk about this to is not your boss. It is not your spouse. It is not your coworker. It is not your boss's boss. No. The first person you want to talk about this to or with is the Lord of Lords. God, this is what I think I deserve. This is what I think I can do. This is what I think I know. Lord, I want this and this and this position. What is your thought about it? Do you think that my duty here is done? Can I move on to a different duty? Lord, show your face, show your will so that I can know it. Please reveal yourself to me. And give God any sign that you want. And now take an action. Go to your boss reverently. Now, do not go to your boss if your duty is just lacking. I know that we cannot be perfect, but you have to discharge your duty to the point that even if your boss does not love you or does not like you, they will know that this person meets the goal. Now, if you meet your goal for a certain consistent time, you can go to your boss and very clearly tell them, boss, I have been doing this and I have gained this new skill. I think I can be of a better service on this position. That does not guarantee that they are going to grant it to you. Now, does that mean that if you have mistakes, open mistakes, you cannot be promoted? No. You can be promoted, but talk to God. Maybe that position you are holding is not a good position for you anyway. So yes, by moving up to a different position might be a better outcome for you and for the company that employs you. But you gotta make sure the Lord is with you in everything you do. When Jesus called his disciples, he did not promise higher wages. He did not promise any lofty position or possessions. He called Levi. Levi was, serving as someone who sold or who was just a collector of taxes, a tax collector. He did not promise him any salary. He called Peter, John, Andrew, James. They were fishermen. He did not promise them any wages. He just called them and they came to him and they left the boats, they left their tables, they left the profession, they left everything and they came to Jesus. And Jesus took care of them. He did not build them houses, but Jesus took care of them. That's the promise that Jesus is making. If you come to me and you abide by me, you will not lack what is essential to you. So go to your work, Christians. Go to your work. Discharge your duty with the best ability you may have, with the best intention you may have, knowing that the hand of an angel is taking down every note, every action. and you will be graded. I hope you will be graded well, because if you do your job and you do not make knowing mistakes, that you induce people to mistakes, if you do not do that, if you do not pose a snare to someone, if you do everything you can, even if you make mistakes, the Lord will be with you and protect you. So if you hate your job, the mistake you should not make is to take matters in your hand. What you should do is to take matters into the Lord's hand and surrender your will, your abilities, your knowledges, your talents to Him, so that He will promote you. God bless you. I'm Vitalis Esal. By the way, we are giving a course right now in our channel, Winning Souls Ministries, on YouTube, a free course. That could be of a premium course that people would pay to take this course, but it's for free. You know, we have received freely, we are giving freely. So go to our channel. The course is called Rediscovering Jesus. Throughout this course, we will discover why Jesus was born the way He was born, why He lived the way He lived, why He died the way He died, why He went to heaven the way He went to heaven, what He's doing in heaven right now, why He will come back the way He will come back. You will rediscover Jesus in a new light, and you will be able to talk to people about Jesus more competently and simply. All right, God bless you, and God bless your family and your efforts at work.